Today, on the 10th day of Advent, we are getting to know the most important Jewish symbols in a few words. 10 symbols to be true to the numbers. The three most important symbols are the Star of David, the two stone tablets, and the menorah. The Star of David, which is also on the flag of Israel, represents two triangles connected to each other. One stands on its feet, the other upside down. It is the symbol of the unification of the earthly and the heavenly worlds. Watch the video Worldflag in which I tell you more about it. The two stone tablets contain the Ten Commandments. Moses fasted for 40 days on Mount Sinai after the Lord gave him the two stone tablets of the testimony, which were written by the finger of God. The menorah was placed in the sanctuary during the wilderness wandering. The menorah is a 7-branch candle. The middle one is the servant candle, shames, which is used to light the others. The Torah scroll, Sefer Torah, is a handwritten scroll of parchment containing the 5 books of Moses. It is subject to strict regulations. It must be made of kosher animal skin. It must be copied by hand. It is not allowed to do any change on it. Every synagogue must have at least 3 scrolls, which are kept in the Torah cabinet, the Ark of the Covenant. It must not be touched by hands. The Hanukkah candle differs from the menorah in that it has 9 branches. It also has a servant candle. One more is lit every day. Matzah is the unleavened bread. During Pesach, for 8 days, only such bread is allowed to be eaten. The Seder plate contains the menu of the Seder evening: matzah, eggs, bitter herb, meat with bone, vegetables, horseradish, carousel, which is a mixture of apples, nuts, and wine. The shofar is a horn made of ram's horn. It reminds of Abraham's sacrifice when the ram saved Isaac. It is blown on Rosh Hashanah, New Year's Day, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. It is very difficult to blow it. The mezuzah is a prayer placed in a decorative case mounted on the door jamb. The law of Moses requires that it be on one of the doors of the house to make the people remember to pray regularly. It contains the first 4 verses of the most important Jewish prayer, which begins like this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is the only Lord. And finally, let's learn a little more about the Jewish temple, of which only the Wailing Wall remains today, to which faithful Jews go to repent on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The most faithful king, David, wanted to build the first temple, but blood stuck to his hands. Therefore his son Solomon built it. We will get to know them more deeply tomorrow. The magnificent Temple of Solomon was in Jerusalem. It was the religious center of Israel. There were sacrifices made to God only here. Every Jew had to make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem to the temple 3 times a year. This brilliant temple was made of stone, cedar wood, and gold in the 10th century BC. In the 6th century BC, in 598, during the Babylonian captivity, the temple was destroyed. In 538, Cyrus, the Persian king, overthrows the Babylonian Empire and gives the Jews permission to move home. A part of the people returns to their homeland in great poverty. They build a new temple which is much poorer than the Solomonic one. This is called the Second Temple, which was completed and consecrated in 515 BC. This temple was enlarged and renovated by Herod during the time of Jesus. When the disciples saw Jesus, how magnificent it has become, Jesus predicts the destruction of the temple, which occurs in 70 AD, a decade or 2 after its completion. The temple consisted of several parts. The outer court was the court of the Gentiles. Here stood the tables of the merchants and money changers, which Jesus overturned. The inner court began with the court of the Jewish women. Further inside was the courtyard of the Jewish men. Only priests could enter the innermost courtyard around the sanctuary. There stood the slaughter, the altar of burnt offering, and the basin for ritual purification. Next came the covered sanctuary, and then the Holy of Holies, which was separated from the sanctuary by a thick curtain. Only the high priest could enter here once a year, and he was allowed to say the name of God, Yahweh, only here, once a year, to which the whole people prostrated themselves on the ground. This curtain was torn in two when Jesus died on the cross, indicating that the sharp boundary between the heavenly and earthly worlds was removed. Thanks to Christ's sacrifice, man has access to the heavenly world.